everyone. This episode's going to be a little bit different. I found myself at a breakfast table in Germany for Thoman's Gearhead University 2019, joined by a few friends, people I've met over the years, and people I'd met this year. First off, I'm going to talk about just guitar being a pervasive, inescapable hobby with the Phil McKnight. Then we're going to transition to talking about cars. And then Steve from Boston is going to jump in, and he's going to talk to me about cars more. We're going to discuss our love of minivans and repairing cars and cars from our past. And then Glen Fricker is going to jump in. We're going to talk religion for a little bit. Then we're going to talk about celebrity sightings. And then after that, Mike from the GuitarGate channel jumps in, and he tells me a spooky ghost story. It's a lot of fun and brings quite a bit of chills. So anyways, stay tuned for all of that. Before we get to that, I want to talk about our sponsors. This week, we're sponsored by D'Addario Auto Lock Straps. I've been using my strap quite a bit. I love the way it's padded. I love the way it's a slick nylon feeling kind of material that slides across my shoulder. It doesn't bind up on my shoulder the way, fancy in air quotes like suede straps do and other materials. I like a nice nylon strap. I tend to use all my nylon straps way more than anything else that I have, and having that little bit of extra D'Addario technology on the end that just clamps on to your strap peg super easily and clamps off really fast is pretty great. We're also sponsored by Chase Bliss Audio, makers of pedals like the Therme and the Condor, which happen to be two pedals that I have on my board today. I use them at church practice. I use the Condor as kind of like a mid-pushed jump over the mix kind of boost after my drive section, and I use the Therme as a warm, like galloping dotted eighth repeat, exactly what you would expect for a church rig. So anyways, please listen to this whole episode. It's a lot of fun. It's completely off topic, I know. Very little guitar talk. But we were all hanging out at TGU doing nothing but playing and thinking and talking about guitars for a full week. So we were ready to talk about something else. All right. Enjoy this. Bye.
Right. Was that Michael McDonald?
Okay.
Kenny Loggins.
This is not going to work.
It's not going to work, and that might make it fun. I'm going to do a little intro, and then we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. Wow.
That was good.
Usually Steve's does that. I nailed it. I'm here having breakfast with Phil McKnight.
Hello, everyone.
The Tone King.
Hi, everyone. Give you one of those.
And Steve from Boston. Hopefully you can see everyone.
What's up, dudes?
He's chewing.
Good morning.
And Glenn's about to join us. And hopefully everyone just stays real quiet and doesn't say a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
So Phil and I can podcast about, I don't know what. I don't really want to talk about guitar stuff because we've already been living nothing but guitar every moment of the day for 4 days now.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, I know how to brush my teeth and talk about guitars, and that's about the only two things I know, so this might not go well.
You don't have any hobbies or anything outside of guitar stuff?
Literally, this is my hobby.
That's like asking a guy that loves model airplanes. Do you like anything else?
And he's like,
at a model airplane convention.
yeah, he's like, maybe sniffing the glue.
Well, that's why you get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think it'd be a more creative pursuit, model airplanes. You sniff a bunch of glue, you start putting it together, and it just turns out totally different.
Yes, I agree.
So it's just guitar for you.
That's
it.
Nothing else.
You don't
I get that
you don't
all
like
the time.
movies or TV shows, food, anything. You're just like, guitar is it.
And what's worse about it is it gets worse by the year. And the reason I know this is my wife is like chronologically figured it out because she's known me since I was 13.
Uh-huh.
So she's like shown how, like almost on a graph, like, okay, when you're 20s, you were this bad. And in your 30s, it got worse. And in your 40s, it just went. It's just, she's like literally getting to the point where she's like, she once told me something like, you curse on this thing?
You can.
Oh, cool.
I don't just because that's my persona, but you can say whatever you want.
Oh, see, I don't curse on my channel. Can I? So I'll curse on your channel.
Yes, please do. Show people what it's like. And then he'll take little clips and share it around and be like, Phil McKnight swearing.
Yeah.
He used a dirty word.
Yeah, my Yeah, Man Unchained. What? Curse words. No, literally, she says, like, she used to say, like, she's like 3-4 hours a day used to talk about guitar. Then it was like 8 hours a day. She's like, seriously, she's like, it's like, it just gets crazier and crazier. I don't know. I keep thinking there's a bubble. And then I'll be like, I don't even want to look at these things anymore.
Well, you can't go past 100% saturation. So once you hit that, like, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. But I do wait for it to. But my wife said this thing once, and I'll clean it up, actually. It's just, I'm going to take out one of the words. And,
Okay, take out one of the words.
I'm going to replace the word with duck.
Here we go.
Anyways, and
I wonder what word it was going to be.
She said, sometimes I think that when you're watching the kids play outside, you're just thinking about guitars. And when you're supposed to be working, you're thinking about guitars. And when you're ducking, you're thinking about guitars. And the problem with that got me in trouble was I didn't say no.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Well, that could be dangerous for you because it's like the opposite of thinking about baseball. Like usually people think about things to distract themselves so they can hang out a little bit longer.
Yeah, you think about...
Yeah, you probably get complete a little faster when you start thinking about guitars.
You think about intonation. Well, if I move it 8 cents, it'll be sharp.
Welcome to the podcast. We're talking about Phil McKnight climaxing during sex because he's thinking about intonating a guitar.
I was trying to imply the opposite. For the record, intonation does not make me... Yeah, this has gone weirdly rogue. Steve, why don't you just... Never mind. Say something else.
If you want to tap out and pass the mic, we could do that.
You know what? We could do that, too.
Yeah.
Real quick, though. But you surf, right?
Yeah.
So is that your two hobbies, guitar and surf? Or are you having... Oh, another one.
Oh, man, I have too many hobbies, and it's like... I'm someone who has like a billion dumb ideas a day and then like one good one, and I have to like figure out which one is the good one. But I'm always like, oh, man, I should get into like making like little like concrete molds and making like lawn gnomes or something like that. like I'm lawn gnomes. Yeah. Or like I'm just, it's stupid. Like I have to stop myself from starting a new thing, and I'll like tell my wife like, oh, I have this idea of this thing I want to do, and she'll just look at me like, you don't have time to do anything. And like guitar stuff is taking over everything because I tend to try to like monetize my hobbies and try to make them make me a little bit of money. And this whole like demo thing, this whole like podcast thing, the guitar like industry in general is the only thing I've been doing for the past 5 years that's actually growing and making me money. So it's kind of pushed away all this stuff that I would do because like, yeah, I surf, but then I turned that into also like I started shaping my own surfboards in my garage, and that's a ridiculous hobby that no one should get into because it consumes your life and like makes your whole house smell bad and stuff. Nice. And like, the first electric guitar I ever got, within like a month of having it, I completely disassembled it and reassembled it and started making mods and stuff like that. This is when I'm like 14. So like, yeah, I'm playing guitar, but then now I have this new hobby of taking stuff apart and like tweaking everything. It's like, I can't stand still with this stuff. Like,
I'm glad you said that. When people ask me, like, do you have your first guitar? We got asked that yesterday, but I didn't get the chance to answer. Mm-hmm. And I don't, but it's not for what everybody thinks. It's because I took it apart and then I repainted it and then I cannibalized the parts to upgrade other guitars and then I got another guitar and cannibalized that. So I mean, literally, until I could afford nice guitars, like I was just like with chop shopping.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? I would chop up this guitar and add it to this guitar. I was on a quest to like, when you get your first beater car and you're just gonna kind of keep upgrading parts here and there until it's something that a girl might look at you with. Same thing.
What was your first car? Like that you own, not like your family's car or something like that. First car you bought.
I had a Jeep Comanche. Remember those? It was like the Jeep. It was like the Jeep Cherokee, but it had a bed. Yeah, and so it was cool.
My first car that I ever bought was a minivan.
That gets the ladies.
Yeah, Dodge Caravan, baby blue, with brown rust all over the top.
Oh yeah. Nothing says like you're about to make a bad choice, like dating a guy in a Dodge Caravan.
Like as a teenager and a college student, I had a blast with that thing. I took take all the seats out of the back, fill it up with wood, take it down to the beach and have bonfires and stuff, load it up with guitar gear, get all my friends like piled in the back. Like, it was a fun time.
That was forward thinking right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, get an agenda.
Yeah.
I did. No.
It's a small car.
And in all fairness, the Dodge Caravan, because the hood sticks out far enough, you can actually work on the engine.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
it was a lesson in like auto maintenance,
Especially
because-
replacing transmissions.
and it was a four banger one. It was a 4-cylinder, so it was wide open in there. I did everything on that car. I changed head gaskets twice on that guitar, which you shouldn't have to ever do.
Yeah.
91, I think. Yeah. The problem with now we're into off-topic stuff. The problem with the Dodge Caravan is that if you got the 6-cylinder one from those years, it was too overpowered for the transmission, and you would just cream the transmission.
Yeah, that's why I made the joke about the transmission. They're notoriously
Yeah.
known for the transmissions not lasting.
But if you get the 4-cylinder one, it's underpowered,
Right.
but it never kills the transmission. But then apparently the engine warps all the time. You've always got to change the head gaskets.
So there's that.
I put like a 6-inch crack in the exhaust manifold in that thing. I have no idea how I pulled it off. It might have been like literally flooring it from Las Vegas back to San Diego one time. That did
Flooring
it.
it. So you're what, 60, 61 miles an hour?
No.
Just
Like,
kidding.
here's the trick with driving a minivan. No cop will ever pull you over because it doesn't look like you're going very fast at all, no matter what you're doing.
They don't pull you over because they don't want to be embarrassed to stand next to the thing. They don't want their friends to think that maybe it's theirs.
I think I was hitting like 95 the whole time, and that was the top. I was just like had my foot down. I had people in the car that I didn't want to be with anymore. Coming back from Vegas, like I just want to get home.
You're too nice, Bill.
What's the joke? I don't get it. Is that your? Oh, that's your photo on your.
I think he made the car you were
That's
driving.
his.
Oh,
that's
you
his,
made the. Oh, okay.
That's his Dodge Chrysler
Gotcha.
employee badge.
Did you guys?
That was not his.
Yeah. Glenn doesn't have any other job other than doing
Yelling at
studio
people.
stuff. Yeah, yelling at
I
people.
work in manufacturing.
Glenn works in manufacturing. He's not holding a mic, and he's talking for some reason. Lots of professionalism here. I just busted Glenn's balls on my podcast. Sorry, Glenn. Don't hit me later, please.
That was a smart move for a guy who likes to use a sledgehammer in like half the videos.
I've still got a day to survive here.
Yeah.
I might not make it. Glenn's gonna throw me off a roof.
He's going to give you an honest review.
Yes. Well, with that, I'm not holding the mic. You're not going to beat that joke.
Who wants it?
Here, I'll go over there though for his camera shot.
Oh yeah, sure.
See, that we are professionals. Look at this.
My first car
I like this. I like that we're continuing this.
was a 1965 AMC Ambassador Rambler station wagon.
Ooh, a station wagon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Listen, if your first car is in a station wagon, you haven't lived. It
The flat minivan.
it quickly got damaged, not through any fault of mine. The city was working on the water pipes, and they had something sticking up from the ground, and it tore out the transmission pan. Right, and my second car, which was just months later, was a 1979 Mercury Grand Marquis prior police vehicle,
Yes.
still in black and white, still
Yes.
with the emblems on the side of the car and all the lettering and everything. And I got pulled over like the first day by a cop basically saying, you got to spray paint over that stuff or you're going to be arrested for impersonating an officer. And I said, okay. He's like, no, seriously. He goes, we will arrest you. He
Yeah.
goes, so I had to spray paint most of the thing.
Dude, I am dying to ask if you traded a microphone for that car.
What the
The Blues Brothers, right?
Oh.
Where did you get the cop car? I traded it for a microphone.
there were a lot of Blues Brothers jokes
Good
back
reference.
then. The worst part about owning that car was that every car in front of me drove so
Yeah.
goddamn slow.
I've always wanted to pick up a.
Get that car.
My dad bought it at a police auction. He bought it at a car auction, but it came off police service.
And
And
it
then
still had like
It literally still had the town of.
Police car.
It was literally a police car.
Cop tires, cop engine, cop transmission.
So it had the big seal on the door, on the driver's door, and on the passenger door for the town, right? The town seal, and it had all the numbers, like dial 911, like all over the car.
to serve and protect.
Serve and protect. I swear to God, it absolutely had that on there, and yeah, no, like the first day. A cop pulled me over and he was like, "Listen, man, you can't." He goes, "You've got." He goes, "How long have you had?" I showed him how long I had the car.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, good, because I'm not going to arrest you now." He goes, "But you literally have to spray paint this like in the next 24 hours." He goes, "I see you." It's from my town. He goes, "If I see you driving this again tomorrow," he goes, "I'm going to arrest you."
Yeah. I've always wanted to pick up a retired like Crown Vic. And,
Yeah.
but the thing
Well,
is-
this was the version of a Crown Vic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get them super cheap, but then like putting gas in them, it's like
It was the worst.
over the top. They get like 12 miles
I
a
didn't
gallon.
think there'd be a car
And
worse.
don't get rear-ended.
Remember they explode?
Yeah.
I
Crown Victorias.
I didn't think the gas mileage could get worse than the AMC, but I found the one car that went from 2 miles to the gallon down to 1 mile to the gallon. I mean, I would go like literally 5 miles and back and be down a quarter of a tank.
Yeah. And it's like a similar thing for me going back to like impersonating cops. It's like if I got one, I'd be putting a surf rack on the top, and people see me in the rear mirror, and like they see the headlights and they see something on the roof, and it's like I won't be able to drive down the road. Everyone will be going the speed limit.
You would actually like the AMC because that car was kitsch. I mean, that was
Yeah.
straight up surf. That was a mid 60s wood paneled side, had like all this like aluminum trim that had no function other than to slow the car down. And make your gas mileage worse. But it was at a time when gas was a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm making myself sound like a young millennial. How embarrassing.
In fact, the guy who we sold the car to, one of the mechanics, right, because I already had the marquee, so one of the guys from my dad's shop bought the car, and within like, I'd say a month, he completely changed the carburetor out to like a 1-barrel because it was sucking down gas so bad. He goes, I drove to my house and back, and it was like a half a tank. And I was like,
The thought I've had with the Crown Vics is because they're like I think they're 8-cylinder. They might
yeah,
be
mine
more.
was an 8-cylinder.
They might be more. They might be.
No, mine was absolutely an 8-cylinder. That's it.
Yeah, that's
was
hot.
But mine was like brown. Mine was like brown with a wood paneling.
Yeah.
Had a Woody.
Here's my bad idea with the Crown Vic. It's like you're using too much gas. Just pull half the spark plugs. Save half of them for later, and when your car starts going bad, plug in the other set. You know,
There you go.
That's how cars work, right?
Right? Sure. I'm gonna say sure.
Yeah, that's how they work. Just start pulling plugs, and you'll save gas. Won't cause any problems at all. You won't be leaking gas out the bottom of your car as you drive down the road.
My
at all.
dad bought and sold a lot of cars, so I went through quite a few cars when I was younger.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
What was your favorite? What was your least favorite?
My favorite, bar none, was my 1975 Mercedes 280C, the coupe. No, it was a 75 Mercedes 280C. Loved that car. Drove that through college. That car helped me out. I'm just gonna say right now. Okay.
Oh, you were driving.
That car was an accessory.
You were driving a Mercedes around in college. And
I was.
It helped you out somehow. I can't imagine how
totally
that helped you out.
I'm trying to think of my worst car.
That was the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Too fast.
Yeah, it was too fast.
Yeah.
And it was very low to the ground. It was hard to get in and out of. No,
You never put anything in the side seat.
I think I had a Pontiac.
Hopefully the mic picked that up. Phil said you can never put anything in the side seat because there was a girl there.
I might have.
That's why they don't put back seats in those, is because you'll have too many women in the car.
Yeah.
You get bad gas mileage again.
I might have had it like a.
It puts the balance all off, you know.
I'm trying to think. It might have been a Pontiac Le Mans, but it was not the cool old 71. It's 70s one. It was like the crappy like 1982 one or something like that.
Right.
It was like the world's worst car. Very unreliable.
It's like you tell someone you've got an Impala,
Yeah.
and they're thinking Snoop Dogg, but then you roll up with like a modern Impala.
Yeah. No, I have a Chrysler K car. Like the world's worst car ever.
I said I got
Yeah, no, I lived through some pretty terrible cars.
Yeah. I feel like cars are way better now, right?
Much more reliable, I'll tell
Much
you
more
that.
reliable. Like
Not
I
even
have
close.
memories of my parents' cars throughout the 80s and stuff like that. We couldn't go on a trip without having to pull over for maintenance somewhere. Like stuff was always breaking. Like I've never had that with a car I've owned in the last decade. I don't have new cars. I have a like an '07 Nissan Sentra, something like that.
I drive a 2005 Chrysler Town and Country because that's how I rode. It's not a minivan. It's the metal van.
This is the metal van. I love it.
That's what I tell my kids, and they're like, "Dad, that joke sucks."
Yeah.
And stop saying it.
I want to get another minivan. I miss minivan life, and not just because I'm a dad now, but I miss being able to just load crap in there and just fill it with surfboards, go down to the beach, all that sort of stuff.
So we've had nothing but minivans and SUVs for the last 10 years, and we finally just bought another sedan. And I got to say, I'm having a hard time getting in and out of it. It's so close to the ground.
Yeah,
I forgot how low to the ground those cars were.
yeah. I got back into four-door sedans because I was commuting a lot a decade ago.
Right.
And then I went self-employed. I'm like, why do I keep having these sedans? I'm not driving anywhere. I'd rather have a big car. But
Right.
yeah, I'm not going to go around just buying cars as a hobby because I don't need another hobby.
Right.
So I wait for everything to completely rust out and burn to the ground. I don't sell cars that have any value.
Yeah. Other than the Mercedes, it's mostly been like minivans and junkers. And junker minivans.
Yeah. My minivan, when I had to retire it, I just had so much stuff just jerry-rigged together, like the little switch on the door that turns the light on and off.
Right.
Like the ring had broken off around it.
Right.
And so it was pressed in a little bit, and so it wouldn't engage anymore. So I had pennies taped over it so that the light would turn off. And then the thing that finally took it out is I was speeding it around because I was a dumb young person, and I went over a speed bump, which I do all the time because there's speed bumps in my neighborhood, and I think that I just wore the shocks out. It bottomed out on the speed bump.
Yeah,
and
you probably broke a shock.
just cracked the oil pan.
That's what happened to the AMC.
So I drive up to my house. I just load out of my car like a dumb college kid, and my dad's standing in the front yard, probably standing there in socks and sandals with his shirt off, watering the lawn, and he's just standing there watching oil pour down the street. He's like, "Ryan, your car's done. Time to call the Goodwill and take a receipt on it."
Trying to think of. I was leaving the dentist's office and I broke the axle in my minivan. Had to tow it up to my house, and within a week I was putting an axle in my driveway in my car, front axle, and they stick in with an O-ring bushing. Mm-hmm. But you can't pull it out, and it's up on jacks, right? And so you're trying to pull it without pulling the car off the jacks, right? And I wound up using the kids' swing, right? The plastic swing, right? Putting that around my back, right? And holding the tension, and I had friends pushing against the van. I'm like, all right, guys, now let's not pull this off the jack stands. Ready? 1, 2. And they're boom, and they came right out. And we were I admire us, right? We're out there all patting each other on the back. Going,
I'm impressed
I
you're
envy
still
us.
alive if you're pulling stunts like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we weren't under the car.
Sure.
I had the swing behind my back as a, yeah, and I was out and I'm holding it, but I need to use I can't pull it with my arms.
Right.
It's too, right? So I have to run the swing around my back, and then get the tension there and use all my body weight.
That event was followed with, Daddy, what happened to the swing set?
Yeah. I know. They never knew. I got that swing right back up there again. It was like it never happened. I was proud of that engineering because we could not get that axle out that day. It's February. It's the one day that's instead of being 2 degrees, it's up to 40. It's balmy for February for us.
I can work on cars. When they break, I know what to do. You don't think I can?
You actually work on cars?
I can't work on cars. You missed it earlier saying that I changed head gaskets on my first car twice.
Which is that's a
That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Whenever I want to like legitimize myself as working on cars, I just
drop
that.
the head gasket.
I mean, I definitely was the reason why I had to change the head gasket twice.
yeah.
You're not on the mic, so
There's a lot of parts that have to come off before you get to that gasket.
and then you have to line it all back up just right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the right tension.
Like,
and you have
you
have to put the bolts down just in the right pattern
it's
with
bad.
the torque wrench.
Yeah.
It's like
it's bad. You have to buy the book and like follow the instructions.
Yeah, the instructions. Because if you don't, you'll crack the head.
Yeah.
Even more than you
If
already
you crack
had.
the head, you have to change the head gasket.
Yeah. Sure.
Weird. I want. That car was a wreck.
Why is all the steam coming out of the back of the car, Daddy?
I pushed it too hard. I twisted the engine block to the point like that the exhaust manifold cracked in half, basically.
Yeah. That's the one thing I've never done as an exhaust manifold.
I'm probably better at working on cars than I am on guitars. But man, what was I about to say? Shoot, I lost it. I had a thought and it was gone.
Oh no!
Yeah,
it's that choo-choo derailed. Your train of thought derailed.
Does anyone else want to jump on the mic? Now that we've talked about cars forever,
Give me a minute.
get over here, Glenn.
Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't want you to seem like I'm kicking you off. I just want to like
from two seats down.
We've got
Glen Fricker.
We'll get a mixed salad of podcast guests here.
How the fuck are you, Ryan?
I'm good, Glenn. How are you?
Now the tempo will change.
Do you want to continue our conversation last night where I threw myself into talking religion with Glen Fricker?
I'm like, why are you wasting your time?
Well, you were the one who walked up to a circle of people talking about their church rigs.
Oh, okay, right.
Like, I'll just jump in this circle right now. I'm like, great, here we go.
Oh, there's lots of gods. Like 3,000 of them or something like that.
Glenn just jumps into the mix. It's
just
like, your religion is a lie. We don't have to talk about that. We probably shouldn't. But I want to give people the mental image
we
of that
do
going
want to get
down.
to TGU today.
And we were drinking, so we were lubricated enough to have that conversation.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't shy away from that sort of stuff. I like to talk to people who have a completely different perspective than me on things.
Sure, absolutely. That's how we grow as people. Is
Exactly.
We talk to each other. It's like that's a big problem I find with a lot of social media. Is when you get into certain Facebook groups or Reddit groups or that kind of thing, it just becomes an echo chamber.
Yeah, because you're in like a very specific group for people who already agree with you.
Yeah, and it's really there's no growth there.
Exactly. There's no challenge.
And that's why Facebook is so fucking poisonous.
Yeah, seriously, because you're like, oh, I don't like what that person said. Block. I'll
Exactly.
never see an opinion from them again.
Right.
I mean, when do you block people on Facebook?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I try these days. I mean, like when Facebook first came out, I tried doing some challenging things and with it. It was fun for a little while, but I just found I was getting sucked in. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Wasting a lot of time on unproductive debates and that kind of thing. And
You can't change anyone's mind on Facebook.
No, you definitely cannot.
Yeah.
All you can do is piss them off.
And that's fun too.
Yeah. But, I mean, like for the last 3 years or so, believe it or not, I've actually tried to be, a positive force on Facebook and just post, keep my posts strictly related to what I'm doing on the show and keep the political opinions to myself. I kind of think. And for the most part, it seems to work.
I try not to block people. I try to be the person that gets blocked. If you post, I figure if you post something on Facebook and I disagree with it,
you're a fucking idiot.
You've invited this interaction. Like, I don't care who you are, and that, like, my mom blocked me on Facebook because I wouldn't put up with like stuff that she would post. I'm like, Mom, here's this reason, and there was a major family meltdown, and she's like, we can't be Facebook friends anymore.
Good for you, man. It's like I got blocked by my aunt because I cursed too much. I'm sorry, I just can't abide by that language, and it's just like. Yeah, okay, that's what, it's like, that's fine, Obviously, you didn't listen to any George Carlin when you were a kid.
No, I did.
No, I meant my
Oh,
aunt.
your mom.
My aunt.
Oh, your aunt.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, I do get a lot of shit from my family. Oh, you swear too much. It's like, well, I'm sorry, okay? I grew up listening to guys like George Carlin and Eddie Murphy.
You wanna hear George Carlin story from my family?
Okay.
My dad used to be a lifeguard in Ventura.
Oh, cool.
And he was working one day, and it was just overcast, cold, nothing going on, like fog rolling up the beach. And this is like in the early 70s or something like
Okay.
that. And this old guy's walking up and down the boardwalk or whatever, and like talking to himself. And he comes up to the lifeguard tower, and he's like, "Hey, you mind if I like try some stuff on you?" And my dad didn't know who he was at first. And like as he's sitting there, he's like starts like pulling jokes on him. He's like, "This is George Carlin." Like George Carlin is testing his material on me in a lifeguard tower.
Fucking amazing.
He also got in a car accident with Alice from the Brady Bunch.
Oh, your dad did?
My dad did.
Oh, man. So did Alice from the Brady Bunch swear at him?
Probably.
Ann B. Davis, that was her name.
I'd have no idea.
I grew up watching the Brady Bunch, sorry.
I know, like, there's all kinds of people I encounter online and whatnot who are like, "Oh, you won't know what this is, blah blah blah. You're too young." I'm not that. I'm 37, but like people say I'm a millennial, whatever. It's like,
No, you're not a millennial.
In the 80s and the 90s, like everything got syndicated on TV. You come home from school, Lost in Space is on, Leave It to Beaver's on, like all this stuff is on. You stay home from school and it gets even crazier. Like I watched the Andy Griffith Show and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
My family had piles of records and stuff. I listened to all kinds of old stuff, and I think like that line between people who aren't familiar with like much older stuff is further. You know, once you get into like the internet and people go on their own journey instead of like having to resort to the entertainment that
Was
is just provided.
Yeah.
That's the line where people aren't familiar with like previous pop culture.
Sure. That sounds reasonable, yeah.
But I agree. I'm not a millennial. Like my whole life, like
You're like borderline Gen X.
yeah, people have called me Gen X as like an insult. Like, oh, these freaking Gen Xers, and now I have to be a millennial. Stick with one term. Come on.
Sure, fair enough. So I had my one celebrity encounter there in LA a couple weeks back. Actually, since you're talking about Ann B. Davis, I sat down for coffee in Los Feliz the other day with my buddy. He sits down right in front of me, and the guy sitting at the table right behind us, John Malkovich. I just kind of looked at him.
Nice.
He looked at me, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna just drink my coffee and not bother with the guy. He's like, nope. Way too much respect for him to go up and bug him. He's on his day off. Fuck that. I'm not gonna be that guy.
I feel like I wouldn't want to interact with John Malkovich. I feel like it'd be too intense, or it would be weird. It'd be awkward.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. And again, it's like I read. Did you ever read the Neil Peart books?
I don't read books. I don't have time. Sorry.
All right. Well, I read these a few years ago before YouTube took off, and
I'm illiterate.
so that's why you believe the Bible. Okay, but seriously, you read the Neil Peart books, and he talks about that because like that kind of shit really embarrasses the shit out of him. Is people just come up to him randomly, "Oh, I love your," it's like he's like. Isn't just playing drums enough?
Yeah, seriously.
And I'm like, okay, and I totally get where he's coming from, and I totally respect that. So it's just like, hey, you kids out there, if you ever run into Neil Peart, don't bother him.
Or do and film it.
That's cruel.
Sorry, Neil.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah,
It's just
don't bother Neil.
Yeah, don't be the fangirl to him because it just embarrasses him.
Do you know who Reese Darby is?
I've heard the name. Yes.
From Flight of the Conchords.
Oh yeah, which one was he? The tall one or the short one?
He's Murray.
Oh, the manager. Yeah,
the manager. So my wife and I had just watched his vampire movie that he was in. He was a werewolf in that. What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay.
And we were just like loving him as an actor, as a comedian. We were driving around and like doing his voice and like saying ridiculous things and having a great time. And we head down to the San Diego Zoo to just like hang out for the day. And we're walking around looking at animals, and my wife grabs me by the shoulder and she pulls me back behind like the monkey cage or whatever, and she's like, "He's here." I'm like, "Who's here?" "He's here." And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And I look around, and he's like checking out the grizzly bears, and he's with his whole family. Way taller than I thought he was going to be, by the way.
Okay.
Really tall dude. He's this big on the TV.
Yeah.
But we're like, what do we do? What do we do? We love this guy. And we just decide, like, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do that'll add anything to his day.
Yep.
There's nothing that will enrich him and like make him have a better time. He's with his family at the zoo.
Oh, he was with his family. Yeah.
So, like,
just give him some space.
We just like sneak back over by him awkwardly and stand behind him and his family and watch like him and like I think looks like his 10-year-old son just make dirty jokes about the Bears for like 20 minutes, and we're just sitting there listening. And when we were walking back towards him, he like looked over at us and he shot this look at us like he knew that we knew, and he gave us this look like, no.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't think we were going to end up talking about celebrity encounters.
it's fucking weird.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, like I bumped into RJ Mitty once.
Who's that?
He was he played the son on Breaking Bad.
Okay, that's
Yep. I bumped into him on Sunset, like right out in front of the rainbow, and I'm just kind of like, "Hey, dude, how's it going?" Because he was out shaking hands and that kind of shit. And I thought, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, if
Just
he's
like-
shaking hands,
exactly. I'm
you
just
gotta get your
yeah.
hand shook.
I was just like jumping into an Uber, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, love your work, man. Have a great night." That kind of thing. He was like, "Oh, nice to meet you."
Yeah.
He was totally cool about it. But yeah, generally. Unless it's at like some kind of public function,
Sure.
or they're like actively engaging with people, just leave them the fuck alone.
I feel like if you're at NAMM,
yeah, that's a little different.
yeah, people are going to come up and talk to you. I talked to Mark Maron at NAMM.
Who's that?
He's a big podcaster. He's an actor too.
Oh, okay, cool.
comedian.
Sure.
This story's not going to be as interesting to you if you don't know who he is. Did you watch the Glow on Netflix?
Yes.
He's the manager.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So he's got this huge podcast where he interviews people. He interviewed Obama on a
wow.
podcast. I feel like if you interview the president, it's not a podcast anymore. You've got something else. So he's at NAMM because he plays guitars. He's a big Gibson freak.
Oh, right on.
I see him in the Gibson booth, and someone dropped something. And
It was Pete Thorne. I saw it.
he's walking one way. I'm walking the other way down an aisle. I look up. I see him. And like it sparks in my mind, like that's Mark Maron, and like my hand goes out like this just by instinct, and he sees it, so his hand goes out, and we shake hands, and he's looking at me like, "Is this a person I'm supposed to meet at Gibson?" and I'm like, "Big fan," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and then he keeps going, and then later in the day, like an hour later, I see him at a different booth. I've composed myself. I've come down from running into the top podcaster in the game.
Okay.
And he's leaving a booth. I go like, "Hey, Mark, I ran into you earlier. I'm a podcaster as well."
He's like, "Oh yeah, you're that weirdo."
Yeah. And I hand him my card and like we're a guitar podcast and we talk about all this stuff. Give us a listen sometime if you want. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a listen."
Yeah,
and
he's like-
as he's walking away, I'm like, "You're not gonna listen to it." And he's like, "Nope." It was like if you're familiar with him and like his sense of humor and like himself. It was like the perfect like moment to have like an interaction with him. Like there
Okay.
it is. There's this guy's personality.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I had an interesting one. I was in New York City for AES a couple years ago, Audio Engineering Society convention. Lots of fun if you're into like audio gear and shit like that. Mm-hmm. I'm in audio gear like you're into guitars. You know what I mean? So it's cool.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've got a studio and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
I record in a garage.
I have 2 studios right now.
Two studios.
I've got one in Canada and one in Hollywood, so that I share with Warren. So it's Warren Hewitt from Produce Like a Pro. It's a pretty awesome room. Anyway, so we're in New York, and I had just taken my wife to go see the Book of Mormon. Mm-hmm. And we had a blast because we'd never been to Broadway and whatnot. It was really amazing. I was just like top level actors doing their thing, and it was just like wow. It's like almost like a live action movie. Like
Totally.
they were that good.
I haven't seen that one yet, but
It is hilarious. It is absolutely hysterical, and yeah, you really got to learn the song "Hasadiga Evil Eye." It's pretty awesome. And anyway, so we're walking back through Times Square, and this kid stops me and asks if he can take a selfie with her. I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it!" Because it's like again going back to the Rush thing. Okay, Neil Peart always got always got embarrassed by getting stopped, whereas Geddy Lee said, "If somebody stops me, I've got time for that." which I thought was incredibly cool.
Yeah.
Because he knows who butters his bread. I mean, like,
Sure.
Yeah, it's like the whole reason he's there is because the fans. So it's like, that's public life. So that's the price you pay, and they enjoy it, and I do too. So this kid asked, "Can I take a selfie with you?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So we get all his buddies in, and we all take a picture, and right in the heart of Times Square, and it was really cool. And my wife's just glaring at me. She's standing there with her arms crossed. She's just glaring at me, and she's pissed,
right?
Because it's her night, it's date night, and I'd taken time away from her, to spend with a fan. And honestly, I'd shoot her out right there. I said, "Hey, the whole reason we are here is because of that kid and his friends and everybody else who watches the show. That's the only reason we're here." I said, if somebody stops, we're in public, and somebody stops and asks if they can, take a picture or something like that, we make the time every time. Yeah, and I said, because the last thing I want is that kid to go home and say, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah, Glenn blew me off, and he's going to be in the comments every video. And
exactly.
Way to blow me off, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, I just, it's like I didn't want to ruin that kid's night.
Sure.
It put a smile, it put a smile on his face. He went off and did his thing, and I explained that to my wife, and I think she kind of eventually understood about 6 hours later.
Yeah. You mean the next day?
Yeah, pretty much. She's like, okay, yeah, you might have a point. So yeah, that's generally been my policy as a YouTuber. As I see it, I've been incredibly lucky to be able to make a career on YouTube and doing that. And like I said, if somebody stops me, of course I'm going to take the time to talk to them. It was insane. I remember going to Anderton's in England a few years back, and I took the train in. And again, I was with the wife. We were like right around the corner from the British Museum. So we went one day and we got evacuated because of a terrorist threat, believe it or not. And so she wanted to go back, and I'm like, great.
Well, they knew you were coming.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But she got evacuated, or she's like, I want to go back to the museum. I'm like, great, I want to go down to Anderton's and go say hi and hang out for a little bit. And it was hilarious. Just the walk from the train station to Anderton's, I got stopped like 7 times. My kid's, Glenn, what are you doing here? Because like England's my second biggest market next to the States.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and it was just hilarious. And I got to hang out at Anderton's for a few hours. I always got to hang out with Rabia and Lee and everybody. And yeah, we just had a blast. It was a lot of fun. But,
the time when I've been recognized the most is at Sweetwater's Gear Fest.
Oh, I love Gear Fest.
And it was all the employees. I did a video where I was a little bit drunk and I reviewed their candy. And then I name dropped my Sweetwater rep, and I think he passed it around to everyone.
Nice.
So I was walking around and everyone with a Sweetwater shirt was like, I know you.
Cool.
Other than that, I think I've only been recognized once, out in regular public, and it was someone who works at my local In-N-Out.
Oh, right.
And I was like, this is amazing, but it's also like, do I have to find a new In-N-Out?
It's hilarious. I remember I got recognized by a kid working at a Carl's Jr. When we were driving from Corona to Vegas, we stopped off at a Carl's Jr. or
Did
something.
He yell, fuck you, Glenn?
No, he's like, oh, I love your show, dude. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. It's bizarre. I remember we're in downtown Vegas, just before our last NAMM, and we walk in to get some breakfast or something like that, and the kid working at the store is like, Glenn, I love your show. And I'm just like, okay, this is fun. This is neat.
Nice.
So thank you to everybody out there who watches my show. I really, really do appreciate all of you guys.
It is crazy, this thing that we do, right? I mean, you do studio stuff. You're also making money elsewhere as involved in music. But before I started doing this, guitar was literally just a hobby. Every band that I had was literally a hobby band.
Sure.
Maybe dozens of fans at most.
Sure.
This is the most successful thing I've ever done in music, and
same here.
It blows my mind that I get to do this. That Toman freaking flies me out to Germany twice now. I didn't think I was going to get invited back. I thought they were going to evolve the concept a little better. And that was a good test run. Guys like that don't need to come back.
Oh, ooh. Yeah. It's I don't know, man. I'm just like I can't believe my good fortune. So I'm very thankful to everybody who watches the show and supports and all that kind of stuff. You guys are amazing. So I'm kind of eyeing this Zoom unit here.
My wife bought this for me.
Oh, very good. And does it have a limiter? Check.
Yeah.
1, 2.
It's got a very nice limiter. It's nice and smooth.
Okay, cool.
I've never had clipping.
That is
The
super cool.
limiter is engaged.
And that you can mount on a tripod mount.
Yeah.
And what's the
They
port
have
there?
little capsules you can put up here, so you can
Oh,
put an
that's your-
XY on it.
that's your XY.
You can put a shotgun on it.
Okay.
You can actually put a capsule on here that gives you 2 more XLR plugs,
Oh wow.
so you can run
Six.
six channels at the same time.
Okay, that's actually pretty sick.
Yeah.
I've got like a little XLR mount recorder.
Yeah.
It just plugs into the back of your microphone and records, which is really cool.
Yeah,
too.
I've got the little Tascam one.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I use that all the time.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm
great.
always here's my issue with that one. I can't see the levels on it, and I'm the one who's going to use it, and there's usually no one else around, so I can't tell like if
Well,
I've got a good
here's
level
what you
on
do:
it.
you crank it up all the way and make sure you set it to dual record because it'll record 2 channels. One's 6 dBs quieter than the other, so if you peak,
That's smart.
you've got a backup, and it's got a limiter as well.
Yeah, I use it for other like video production stuff when I'm shooting a wedding or something like that.
All right,
Like,
cool.
I set it up for the person, and they're like, "Oh, use this," and be
So
safe.
this has got a built-in limiter, so you're not going to peak. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's got a couple different limiters, and there's like studio limiter versus like a couple other styles. I just
That's
set it on
great.
studio, and I've left it for 3 years now, and it saves my ass every time.
Whatever works, man. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it looks like you've been running a little hot, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, it should be. all right. I'm gonna pass.
Anyone
the
else
torch
want to
here.
jump
Yeah.
on?
Get in here, man.
Either of you?
It's coffee time for me.
At some point, I have to eat breakfast.
Oh, you haven't eaten yet. Oh, okay.
I had a little bit of sausage. I had a little bit of bacon. I'm big into food.
Yeah.
I know
Oh, yeah.
I don't fully look like it, but like I've
You look
I've
like
had-
you eat a lot of fish tacos.
I like fish tacos, but like all my plates here in Germany have just been kind of mounds.
Yeah.
I'm like I got to try everything.
I actually took it easy at dinner last night. I was just kind of like
I went too
cooked.
hard.
Yeah.
I
was
saw the
done.
beef and I was like, yeah, give me 4 slices, and
The
everyone
beef
else
was-
was doing 2.
The beef was nice. The fish was really good too.
The fish was really good.
Yeah.
It was a perch.
Yeah. It was quite good.
Some sort of really nice seasoning on that perch.
Yeah.
Only a
Nicely
few
done.
bones, not too many
Did
bones.
you try that white creamy beef? That was pretty gross. I took it by
I
like,
saw
nope,
that. I was
no,
like,
no, I'm
that's
no.
not my style
Yeah,
at
like,
all.
No.
I mean, white
Yes, it was disgusting.
creamy beef is my my gang name.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's white creamy beef.
So how are you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You have the best shirts in the game.
I brought 2 shirts with me, and you're just so impressed with them. No, I brought T-shirts too,
well,
but I
you
brought.
obviously spent between 10 and 12 minutes looking at 5 shirts and chose 2 shirts to bring.
Busted. And it's not 5 shirts. I got a closet full of shirts.
But are they all like that?
Yeah, I try to get like busy, like crazy patterns and wild colors and stuff.
But are you generally a button-down guy?
No, usually I wear T-shirts.
Yeah.
But I like to.
You like more flow?
I like to be comfortable. But the reason I started wearing Hawaiian shirts and pattern shirts in like videos when I do it is like I record in the garage.
Uh-huh.
Even when I used to record in the house doesn't have AC. It gets hot. You know how it is. You do 30.
Wait a minute. Wait. Your house doesn't have AC?
I know. I'm surprised too. We've got a portable unit in the bedroom so we can sleep at night, but we don't have central AC. The house was built in the 70s. They didn't put AC units in houses in San Diego.
So you have window units?
It's like one of those portable floor units.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, San Diego, though, I mean, does it...
It's 72 most of the
I was
year.
going to say, does it change?
It does. It does actually get cold. It'll get down into the 50s. I'm sorry, cold. It'll get down into the 50s in the winter.
That's California cold.
And like in the peak of summer, like August, September, it'll get up into mid-high 80s.
Yeah.
Every now and then, freak day into 100 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you do need it every now and then, but I think they figured in the 70s, like it was more of a luxury. People will put their own in, or like.
So when it
we're in
gets
San
super
Diego.
hot, you just like go to Walmart? What do you do?
Go to the beach, go to the pool, go to the movies, yeah, Walmart, whatever.
The movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that...
Because they hate it in LA.
Yeah, we have a few Walmarts. Thankfully, not in my town.
How far are you outside
I just
of the city?
polarized the audience on Walmart. What'd you say?
I said, how far are you outside of the city?
I should be interviewing you. You're interviewing me. I'm
Well, because I'm so intrigued by you.
he's been following me around and just like this thing that you did. I'm just still thinking about it.
It's true.
How familiar with San Diego are you?
I've been there probably 5 times.
Do you know where Miramar Air Base is?
Yes.
I live just north of there.
Okay, gotcha.
I grew up with Top Gun jets flying over my house, breaking the sound barrier because
Got
they're
it.
assholes.
Got it. Yeah, my first time I went to San Diego, I lived in L.A. and
We're geography podcasting. This is a thing that we do.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, from the beginning of the show, like we always slide into geography podcasting.
Yeah, so I lived in L.A. and I went out to school. I went to GIT, and I brought this old Taylor acoustic guitar that I had, and it's actually a really funny story. So I found it in a pawn shop for $1,000 in Miami. Right? It's a cherry Taylor. It's 510 from like 82.
Wow.
Or some
so
shit.
one that Bob was in the room with when it built, or maybe he touched it a few times.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he built it. I don't want to sound like I'm like
So
dumping on Bob.
so I was out there, and it had cracks in the front thing. Like it was fucked up. But it's one of those magic fucking guitars,
Yeah.
man. It's one of those that like it just you hit it and it'll ring for 2, 3. It'll ring basically indefinitely on its own. Like it just
Which is a big problem. Like you wake up in the middle of the night and it's just sitting there humming. You have to walk over to the guitar and put your hand on it.
No, it is a problem. It is a problem.
Have you considered the fact that it might be haunted?
No, but my wife is convinced that our house is haunted, and I told
Here we
her,
go.
and I told her that I'm very good at detecting haunted houses. This is one of my obscure skills.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that,
I had my house inspected and certified before I moved in. It's ghost free. I got the plaque on the
wall. Is that
wall.
a San Diego thing?
No, I'm just making a joke.
Okay, but going.
Do people do that?
We're gonna get back to San Diego.
Okay.
But I used to live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in Charleston, South Carolina, there's actually a poltergeist clause in all of the cities, not the state, all of the city's real estate transactions, right?
Interesting.
Literally meaning if you don't tell someone that they're buying a haunted house, you can get your money back. If you buy the house and you say, I can't sleep here because this
It's haunted.
There's someone sitting on my chest every time I lay down to go to sleep, they're going to give you your money back. It's on the books. And I'll take it one step further.
It seems like the sort of thing people could abuse.
Well, so it goes further. So when you live there, chances are very high that you're going to live in a haunted house, right?
Yeah.
I've had
For reasons.
you guys think I'm screwing with you, but this is real talk right now. Okay, this is a real thing. They have a whole house, like in the city, like an office where you can go to, and they keep records of all the ghost stories and reports, and they tie them to each address for like 300 years, right? And so you can go and check out where, what the story is, like how, in your house, and you can see if this stuff is bullshit or not.
Yeah. Oh, like you look it up and you're like, BS. It's a different ghost every time. There's not that many ghosts in that house. Like if you see consistency though, same ghost every time.
Okay.
It's probably legit.
Dude, there's insane consistency.
This guy's getting wound up.
Dude.
He's ready to just go for it.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, this is the thing. I tried to tell my wife, I was like, listen, I have experience in this department. Our house isn't haunted. You're just, a shade delirious because we have 3 kids and our life is insane. We don't sleep much and you work out 3 times a day. So like maybe.
Yeah, my house is haunted by a 5-year-old.
You took the words out of my
Things are always broken. There's all these noises. I can't sleep.
by a 5-year-old. So in the house I lived in, it's 99 Bull Street in Charleston, and I lived on the basement floor. Okay, and there are different experiences between men and women. So the men, obviously,
don't say.
Obviously, I'm a man. You know,
I haven't checked. I can't confirm.
experienced your standard doors open and close. You know, it gets all of a sudden extremely cold in the room and then extremely hot.
Do you have AC?
Yeah.
That might be turning on.
Yeah, but you're talking
No, I know what you mean. You find cold spots and
the random cold spots.
you bust out the thermal cam and there's like this creepy handprint on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. But the women, though, the thing in this house in particular was that they always felt when they got to the top of the main staircase up top, they felt hands on their back, and they were pushed down the stairs, right?
Ooh,
and
spooky.
And of course, we're in
just got
college,
chills.
and it's like, no, you've just been, shotgunning.
Appletinis.
Bud Ice for 4 hours,
Smirnoffs.
and you're wearing
Zimas.
and we're and we're in the South, so that means no matter how much you've had to drink, all the women are still wearing heels like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so no, you just can't walk because you're hammered drunk. But no, they all say the same thing. Like someone pushed them at the top of the stairs. And am I peeking?
A little. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a nice limiter on here. Glenn and I already discussed it. You'll be safe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let me know
No
if
worries.
I'm peeking.
No worries.
Yeah. So we're like, all right, this is some bullshit, right? Whatever. Now, getting on to the real part of the story, okay? So there's this one time when I was in the house when no one was gone because it was August and the semester started, September, right? But I got there 2 weeks early. And so no one was in town yet. No one was in town at all. And it was one of those things where my room was the second room in the basement. And I just couldn't sleep. I always felt like no shit, like someone was like sitting on my chest or laying there with me. The best way I can explain it is that if you know someone else's home,
Yeah.
you know someone else's home,
Yeah.
right? And you know when the house is empty.
Like
this place
who's
was
there? Who's home?
Yeah, like you can tell when there's another person there.
A presence.
Yeah, you just know if the house is empty, and even if they're asleep upstairs, even if your 5-year-old is asleep 2 floors above, you can feel they're there. You just know it, right?
Yeah.
I never felt alone, even though I was alone for 2
Well,
weeks
that's
there.
kind of comforting. You never feel alone. There's always someone there with you.
All right, so, but what happened was...
It means you can leave on vacation, know everything's going to be watched over.
Yeah, that's not how I felt, though. So what happened is that I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
And so I started becoming pretty delirious, right? Because I wasn't sleeping for days and days and days because I would literally be laying in this bed and I would feel like someone was either laying on top of me or next to me constantly. I'd stand up and go to the couch and I feel like someone was next to me. It was messed up. So I started trying to sleep out on the couch. I moved my alarm clock, moved everything out of my room onto my couch in the middle because there was just some black hole happening in that room, right?
Yeah.
And then, since I'm a guitar player, I started, medicating myself, like just trying to play guitar all day. I'm playing guitar one day, and I'm just riffing whatever. The alarm clock falls off the thing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is, what the hell's going on, right? It just flies off and hits the ground. And so I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I keep playing, right? And then I had 2 stacks of CDs on the other side of this TV. The first stack of CDs flies off, right? Flies off. This is a real conversation. This actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it flies off, right? And I throw my guitar down, and I'm like, what the? Right? And in my haven't slept in 3 or 4 days state of delirium or whatever it is. You know, I'm like, you know what? I knew this fucking place was haunted. I knew it. You know, I'm feeling it, and I was like, you know, fuck it. I'm just gonna try to communicate with these ghosts.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to communicate with these ghosts, and so I take my shirt off. You know,
That's not what I thought your go-to move would be.
well, you have to remember this is an intense
Sure.
state of delirium.
Shirts versus skins. Ghost fighter.
Well, whenever you fight, you gotta take your shirt off if you're serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so I start trying to engage this ghost, right? And I'm like, you know, having like this.
Show yourself, spirit.
I'm having this, right? I'm trying to summon them, right? And I'm like, if you're real, you know, show me, right? And I'm playing like 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm like ripping. The other stack of CDs flies off on the other side of the TV, right? Something's fucking up, right?
Yeah.
I immediately, all the hair on my skin stands up, right? And I'm like, and I go outside, and I go and I sit on my porch, okay? Now, I live in a basement, but there's like a little sunken walking down porch area, right? And I'm sitting on the porch, and I'm like hyperventilating because like this happened.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this girl, comes around the corner. Now, I'm not on the street, I'm behind, so she had to come through the parking lot.
Yeah.
Right? She comes around the corner, comes down my steps, and sits right across from me on my fucking porch, right?
Yeah.
And looks me straight in the eye and looks at me the way that you looks at somebody when, like, you've known them, like, your whole life. Like, looks through you. And she goes, "Do you live here?" And I said, "Yes." She's like, "Do you live in the middle room?" And I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "It's not you. It's real. I was walking by here, and I had a feeling that someone was going through what I went through when I lived here, and I had a feeling you'd be here." And I just,
major chills right now.
dude, and I just, I knew that you'd be here, and I wanted to come and tell you that you're not crazy. It's a thing. Like this is real. And then she stood up and she walked the fuck away. Dead serious. And so I'm telling this story.
She does that to everyone.
But I mean, at the exact moment.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
knew which room I was staying
That's
in.
wild.
It was insanity, right? And all my friends still to this day are like, "Was she wearing clothes from the 1600s?" Like, was she?
No, she looked like she was from the future.
Yeah. And no, she was. I mean, she was the same age as I was, maybe 2 years older, because she lived there 2 years before I did. But so I'm telling this to my friends and the other people that live in the building, because there's probably 8 units in the building. It's this old converted Southern mansion. Excuse me. And then everybody else starts sharing stories, right?
Yeah.
And about the girls being pushed down the stairs, et cetera, et cetera. And people start realizing it's okay that we can admit these things, right? And then someone tells me, "You can go and look this shit up." I'm like, what are you talking about? You can look this stuff up. Like aren't we just all like hallucinating because we're in college
right.
and we're taking boomers all the time? No. Right? So you can go to this place in the city and they keep records of this stuff. So when people have these stories, they keep these records. No shit. Went there, okay? And when I say that all the experiences were the same for the past 300 years, I mean,
Yeah.
basically identical. And there's
crazy.
no way that any of this was passed on verbally or written or any other way from one of these people to another. I mean, these
It
are
always ends with a person discovering the book in the library, like, "Oh, they had the same experience as me."
to the point where I went to the bank one day to deposit a check, and there was an old lady, 85,
That's old.
89. You're talking full gray,
Yeah.
like all the way there, saw my address and said, "I lived there. Are the girls still being pushed down the stairs?"
Whoa.
Dead serious. And I was like, this is insane. This is insane. So I went to the place, and the story is apparently that, so this is a pink house. It's a giant pink house. I don't know what color it was back in the day, but chances are it's probably pink because it's Charleston. But
Well, if the stories are true, it's probably just dripping with blood all the time.
well, so
It
apparently
wasn't. It's pink because the blood got old.
So apparently, the owner of the building was this ship merchant captain, right? And he went away to sea, and obviously, there's no cell phones or anything back then, and enough years had passed where they just assumed he died, and so his wife got shacked up with someone else.
Yeah.
And he came home some random day, and his wife was there with some other man, murdered them both, and then killed himself. And they're all buried underneath that middle room in the basement.
Why would you ever bury anyone underneath a room?
That's the story
That's the story.
of 99 Bull Street, Charleston, South Carolina, 29401. So, getting back to the San Diego.
Do you want to hear a ghost story from my neighbor?
Yes, I
Or
have.
I'm
to
sure
know.
you want to talk about the Whaley House or something like that.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
San Diego's most famous haunted house.
But I was just trying to bring it back. It's like the reason reason I went to the. All right, let me finish the story.
Okay,
real
finish
quick.
the story.
Yeah,
I'll let you do what you were trying to do.
No, it's fine. I don't know how we got on this random tangent.
I didn't stop you. This is good stuff.
Yeah. Well, so when I lived in LA, I totally don't know how we got on this ghost story. But when we lived in LA,
Yeah, the sustain on your Taylor. That's how we got there. Because I said ghosts were sustaining. It was haunted. It's my fault.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So when I lived in LA and I went to GIT, I brought my Cherry Taylor 1982 510 out there, which is, again, it's one of those magic guitars, right? But it was beat to shit. The dude didn't care about it at all. Yeah, didn't care about it at all. Didn't keep it in anything that resembled proper humidity or anything. Like, it was cracked all over. And so I went to Taylor to get it fixed and go through the whole rehumidification process and all that. So I went down and met everybody down there. And I brought the guitar, and all the guys in the shop were like, holy shit, what's this guitar? Like, because it's literally made of cherry, and it's like so thin,
Yeah.
the tops and stuff, that it's got that pop, it's so toppy. And the cool thing is, even back then, they kept records of every single custom order that they did. And so they looked at the serial number, they called it up, and it's like, the dude picked out every little thing. Long story short, they offered me $7,000 on the spot to take this beat to shit Cherry 510 from '82, and I bought it for $1,000 in Miami on a pawn shop, sitting on the wall, out of nowhere.
Nice.
And I did not sell it.
Oh, you kept it?
Kept it.
You still have it?
It's the only acoustic I have.
It's only acoustic. But anytime you get in financial trouble, you can just call up Taylor and be like, I still have it.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Oh, dude, they'll take it, man.
Yeah.
And it's pretty beat up.
Yeah.
It's there's been some aggressive right hand.
Well, they'd probably want to hang it on the wall and be like, here's an example of an early Taylor or something like that.
It's an impossibly thin top. It's
Yeah.
actually made of cherry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just extremely special. It's
Totally.
just one of those things. Someone obviously developed a huge cocaine problem, and it had to disappear, and
Yeah.
and it made itself to a pawn shop in Miami. Something terrible happened. I don't know.
So going back to ghost stories, I have this house
Bring
next
it on home,
door
baby.
to me that gets rented out to like college students, like 4 or 5 dudes at a time. And years back, one of them was like, I think the house is haunted. He's telling us this, like over the fence. We're like, really? What's going on? He's like, I lay in the bed at night up in the master bedroom, and there's like vertical blinds, and every now and then there's no AC, there's no heater on or anything like that. All the windows are closed. Every now and then she's like the blinds start freaking out. I sit there and just like, what's happening? And he's like, it happened like 3 days in a row. It woke me up in the middle of the night, and I sat up in bed and I looked at the blinds and I shouted, "Fuck you, ghost!" And it never happened again. It was a very timid ghost over there.
Oh, that's funny. Well, now, see, but this is in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
San Diego's only like 150 years old, right?
There were Native Americans there. People have lived there for thousands of years.
That's true. Forgive me for doing
What
the
if there's-
standard American thing that think that nothing happened before, like
Yeah,
the
well,
actual city was incorporated.
That only white Americans can be ghosts.
But
What a racist. I'm an
ghosts.
I'm an equal opportunity hauncher.
Warren, we're telling ghost stories. Do you have a ghost story?
I don't.
We
But
actually-
I do have a UFO story. Can I tell that?
Can we do it?
For absolute real.
Okay.
I need to get a coffee.
Make it
though, so
quick
it's
because
not
I got to
gonna
go get
last
my
long. I
stuff
don't
and we got to get on the bus.
For actual real, I know. I haven't had any breakfast.
Sit down.
No, for real. I was driving with a friend to San Francisco. I'd only lived in America for about 6 months. We drove to San Francisco. And no word of a lie, because I'm not like, Mr. Whatever, you know. We're driving along, and there's these like 4 lights. They're like 2 stacked on top of each other, slightly at an angle. And they're just like kind of coming towards us. And I thought, oh, it must be a crop duster or something like that, because obviously it's up in the air. And it was doing this, and suddenly it stopped and went, for absolute real. And I'm with my friend. I was like, "Did you see that?" Like, yep. No one will believe us. So I don't have a ghost story, but I do have a UFO. I don't know
Riveting.
what it was. I don't know what it was. It was just but it
Yeah.
went so fast like that. It was not a helicopter. It just, we thought, oh, it's a crop dusting plane.
And where
or
were you
something.
in the state?
Yeah, we were just driving from LA to San Francisco.
So somewhere in the middle up there?
Yeah, like 8 p.m. or something. It was a winter, so it was dark. We
Swamp
weren't-
gas. Yeah.
All right.
Swamp gas.
Glenn, I'm sure, has some ghost stories.
We already did Glenn.
Yes. Okay.
Glenn can do the outro with me because I gotta go pack up my rig so we can get on the
I'm
bus.
imagining it was probably some kind of military vehicle, probably like the F-22 or something like
mean-
that, testing its VTOL capabilities.
Look, we're just tearing this apart now that he's gone, but it's like the coast of California isn't that far from Edwards Air Force Base.
Exactly. So
I've been out on the desert roads out there and getting freaking like buzzed by a B-2 bomber. Like,
Sure.
they do stuff out there.
yeah, exactly. More than likely, when you eliminate the impossible, whatever's left tends
Honestly,
to be real.
I think a lot of stuff like that where you see something move in an irrational way,
Yeah.
it's very far away.
It just probably has something to do with the angle you're at.
It's perspective.
Yes, exactly.
It's heading towards you, and you can't tell that it's heading towards you because it's 40 miles away.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it makes a turn, and it looks like it just accelerated like crazy.
And, a lot of modern military aircraft or experimental military aircraft have vectored thrust, so they can do abrupt turns and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
So yeah, that UFOs, BS, ghosts though.
Well, no, unidentified flying object. Sure, he didn't know what it was.
Right, he didn't identify it.
Exactly.
That's real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there's one real. Actually,
I
speaking of UFOs,
can't
there's
identify
one
most
documented
planes.
case of there's one documented case of a UFO with actual evidence. It actually went up in Aviation Weekly. You've seen contrails. They're not big, smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, why not? This picture will look like donuts on a rope. It was puffy.
Yeah.
It had like the contrail in the middle, but it had these little puffs along. That is evidence of a pulse jet. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably on some top secret aircraft that nobody can talk about. But if you look it up on Google, you look up the donuts on a rope picture. It's pretty freaking cool.
If I look up donuts on a rope on the internet and it's not literal donuts on a rope, I'm gonna be a little pissed. Like, I don't want to see this cloud thing. I want to see food.
I gotta run up to my room
Yeah,
and go get my
seriously.
stuff. Okay, so from cloudy, wherever the fuck we are in Germany, what fucking town is this?
It's not Treppendorf.
No, it's not
But that's
Treppendorf.
the only town I know nearby.
All right, okay, so from cloudy Treppendorf, Germany, Hassediga Eboy.
Bye, everybody.
Go look up what that